Billy Bremner died at just 54 years old, and the truth about his controversial legacy might shock you. They called him 10 stone of barbed wire, and while Leeds United fans worship him as their greatest ever player, there's a darker side to his story that many prefer to forget. Bremner was born into hardship in Stirling's rough Ratblock district in 1942. His father worked in a newspaper shop, and life was tough from the start. Despite showing incredible talent from age 9, playing for his school's under-11 team, his dreams were nearly crushed before they began. Arsenal and Chelsea both rejected him during trials, dismissing him as too small at just 5 feet 5 inches. The rejections hurt deeply, but they also fueled something dangerous inside him. His father, frustrated by the sectarian divisions in Glasgow football, had forbidden him from joining Celtic. Rangers lost interest when they discovered he was Catholic. The message was clear: nobody wanted Billy Bremner. These early knockbacks didn't just motivate him, they twisted him into something darker. Every brutal tackle, every confrontation, every moment of aggression on the pitch became his way of proving he belonged. This rejection fuel turned him into one of football's most volatile characters. He wasn't just competing, he was waging war against everyone who had ever doubted him. The small boy from Stirling had developed a massive chip on his shoulder. At Leeds United, Bremner's aggression found the perfect outlet under Don Revie's management. They built a team that mixed skill with calculated brutality, earning the nickname Dirty Leeds. Bremner became the enforcer, accumulating 38 bookings between 1962 and 1974 alone. This wasn't competitive spirit, it was systematic intimidation designed to hurt opponents both physically and mentally. The statistics tell the story of a player whose temperament cost his team dearly. While Leeds won 6 major trophies under Bremner's captaincy, they also suffered 12 runners-up finishes between 1965 and 1975. Time after time, they fell short when it mattered most, often because Bremner's volatile nature infected the entire team. His aggressive approach worked during league campaigns where intimidation could wear down opponents over time, but it failed repeatedly in cup finals where composure was essential. Bremner played in 4 FA Cup finals but won only 1. He led the team to defeats in the 1973 European Cup Winners' Cup final and the controversial 1975 European Cup final. Each time, their aggressive mentality, driven by their captain's win-at-all-costs attitude, proved to be their downfall. If you're enjoying this deep dive into football's most controversial figures, make sure to subscribe for more untold stories that reveal the truth behind the legends. We're exposing the dark secrets that the football establishment wants to keep buried. The first major public controversy came in 1974 during the Charity Shield match against Liverpool. What should have been a celebration became a brawling mess that embarrassed English football. The match was described as shabby and marred by continuous fighting. On the hour mark, Bremner and Kevin Keegan exchanged punches in front of 90,000 spectators. Both players were sent off, becoming the first British footballers ever dismissed at Wembley Stadium. But Bremner's reaction revealed his true character. In a final act of defiance, both men ripped off their shirts and threw them to the ground as they walked off the pitch. It was a disgraceful display that summed up everything wrong with Bremner's approach to football. The Football Association charged both players with bringing the game into disrepute and handed them 11 match bans along with £500 fines. For Leeds, this meant starting the season without their captain, significantly hampering their campaign. Bremner's selfish actions had once again cost his team when they needed him most. But this public brawling was nothing compared to what happened during the 1974 World Cup. After Scotland's comfortable 2-0 victory over Zaire, Zairian forward Nadaye Mulamba made a shocking accusation that would haunt Bremner's legacy forever. Mulamba pointed directly at the Scottish captain and accused him of subjecting him to racial abuse during the match. The Zairian player also claimed that Bremner had spat at him and his teammate Mana Mamuwene. This wasn't just any allegation from a disgruntled opponent. Mulamba was playing for a team already suffering under incredible pressure from their dictator Mobutu Sese Seko back home, with players facing threats and unpaid bonuses. He had absolutely nothing to gain by making false accusations against one of the tournament's most high-profile captains. The context makes Mulamba's claims even more credible. Zaire's players were afraid for their lives and families back home. For Mulamba to risk making such a serious accusation against Bremner suggests something genuinely awful happened on that pitch. Yet this shocking incident has been largely swept under the carpet, with football authorities preferring to ignore one of the most serious allegations ever made against a World Cup captain. Just a year later, Bremner's international career ended in complete disgrace with the Copenhagen 5 scandal. After Scotland's European Championship qualifying victory in Denmark, he joined 4 teammates for a night that descended into chaos. Reports describe absolute mayhem at Bonaparte's nightclub, with Bremner and his companions involved in confrontations with the DJ, smashing light bulbs, and fighting with bouncers. When nightclub staff couldn't control the situation, riot police were called. The disorder continued back at the team hotel, where the players allegedly trashed an official's room. The Scottish Football Association handed all 5 players lifetime bans from representing their country. While the ban was technically lifted in 1976, Bremner's international career was over, ended not by declining ability, but by his own inability to behave professionally. The Copenhagen incident revealed everything wrong with Bremner's character. His complete lack of self-control and willingness to drag his teammates down with him showed a man who had learned nothing from his previous controversies. The controversies didn't end with retirement. In 1977, the Sunday People newspaper published explosive allegations that Bremner had offered bribes to fix matches, specifically targeting a 1972 game against Wolverhampton Wanderers. The newspaper cited former players Danny Hegan and Frank Munro as sources for these match-fixing claims. For 5 years, Bremner endured constant fixer jibes from crowds. His wife and children suffered abuse from fans who believed the allegations. The case dragged through the courts until 1982, when Bremner finally won £100,000 in damages, one of the largest libel settlements in British legal history at the time. But winning the case couldn't erase the damage. The match-fixing claims had tainted Bremner's reputation and haunted his family throughout the legal battle. The fact that such allegations seemed credible to many people said everything about how his aggressive, rule-bending playing style had been perceived. When Bremner moved into management, his approach revealed the same flawed character. At Doncaster Rovers, he initially found success by building teams in his own image through hard work and determination. This yielded 2 promotions from the 4th Division, but it also showed his limitations as a modern coach. The real test came when Bremner returned to Leeds United as manager in October 1985. Instead of proving his football philosophy could work at the highest level, he made disastrous decisions. He sold promising young talent, including future Manchester United star Dennis Irwin, to fund purchases of older, more physical players who reminded him of his own teammates from the 1970s. Bremner was trying to recreate the aggressive formula of his playing career, but football had moved on. His outdated methods were exposed as inadequate. In the 1986-87 season, Leeds reached the FA Cup semi-final and the promotion playoff final, but lost the playoff final to Charlton Athletic in a replay. It was the same story that had plagued his playing career, falling short when it mattered most. By September 1988, Bremner was sacked from Leeds United. His relationship with the board had broken down completely. His second spell at Doncaster ended even worse, with the club at the bottom of the 4th Division when he resigned in November 1991. The man who had captained Leeds to multiple trophies couldn't translate his playing success into managerial brilliance. Don't miss our upcoming videos exploring more football legends whose dark secrets were hidden from the public. Subscribe now to uncover the truth behind the carefully constructed myths. Bremner's managerial failures proved that his success as a player had been built on intimidation and aggression rather than genuine football intelligence. When those weapons were no longer effective, he had nothing left to offer. On December 7, 1997, Billy Bremner suffered a suspected heart attack and died just 2 days before his 55th birthday. His death was tragically premature, but perhaps it saved him from witnessing how completely football had moved beyond his confrontational approach. The sport had evolved into something that no longer needed his type of warrior mentality. Today, a bronze statue of Bremner stands outside Elland Road, depicting him in a triumphant pose with his personal motto, "Side before, self every time," etched on the base. Leeds United fans still consider him their greatest ever player, and he's been posthumously inducted into both the English and Scottish Football Halls of Fame. There are plans for a second statue in his hometown of Stirling. But these honours feel hollow when set against the controversies that truly defined his career. The racial abuse allegations from Ndiaye Mulamba, the match-fixing scandal that tormented his family, the violence at Wembley that disgraced English football, and the Copenhagen disgrace all paint a picture of a man whose legacy is far more complicated than his admirers want to admit. The football establishment's determination to celebrate Bremner, despite his obvious flaws, reveals how willing the sport has been to overlook serious misconduct. They prefer the romantic story of the small Scottish warrior rather than confronting the uncomfortable truth about a player whose behaviour repeatedly brought shame on the game. Billy Bremner was accurately described as 10 stone of barbed wire, and that description was more telling than anyone realised. Like barbed wire, he was designed to hurt and inflict damage on anyone who came too close. His death at 54 ended a life consumed by conflict and controversy from his earliest days to his final failures as a manager. While Leeds United fans continue to remember the trophies and passion, the darker truth reveals a footballer whose volatile temperament, alleged racist behaviour, and complete lack of self-control ultimately overshadowed any genuine talent he possessed. His legacy remains forever tainted by incidents that tell the real story of one of the game's most overrated and problematic figures.